Hey everyone, it's James here again. Today we'll be doing a comparison between all of the heavy hitters in the voice automation space. It's very common when you're first starting off to be very overwhelmed by all the different tools and platforms there are, so I made this video in hopes of giving you some sense of clarity. For those of you new here, my name is James. I'm a 19-year-old agency owner, and instead of taking my winter break to sit back and relax, I decided to see just how far I could scale my agency in the next 3 weeks. So if you want to see an authentic look of what it looks like to scale an agency from the ground up and see what the gurus don't show you, hit the subscribe button and follow along on the journey. This is just a quick overview of everything we'll be covering today. First, just starting off with the learning curve. This just goes over how easily you can start building on each platform from your very first day. Moving on to the platform capabilities, so just seeing what you can really do on each platform, so the strengths and limitations. And then moving on to the pricing model, so just seeing how each platform prices their services and which ones are the most expensive and which ones are the least. And then just my overall final recommendations of what platform you should be using, and especially if you're a beginner. And then finally, I'll be going over a piece of information that I wish that I had when I first started my AI automation agency. Before we get started, I just want to go over a major disclaimer. With this, it's just the truth about the quote-unquote best platforms. Many beginners obsess over finding what the perfect tool or the shiniest new SaaS tool is, but in reality, the best platform is almost always subjective. What works for my agency might not work for yours because of many different factors, just because of maybe your clientele, who you serve, and maybe just your values and what you want out of the voice agent. So it's not all going to be the same. So what's the best for me may not be what's the best for you or the best for the next person. So with that, I will just be going over just the general facts about each of these platforms and just leave it up to you to see what you think is the best. When it comes to the learning curve comparison, no matter what platform you choose, there will be a little bit of difficulty when it gets to starting. It's the same thing with everything that you start from brand new. The best way to overcome this is simply just by doing. It's by building, getting your hands dirty, not sitting and watching 1,000 different tutorial videos without building a thing. This is something that a lot of people do. This is something that I did personally when I first started. It's important that you actually go in and you build alongside these videos, if anything, and you go out and you make these use cases before you start actually selling to real people. This is just my breakdown of the learning curve for each and every platform. When it comes to VAPI starting off, I have this as the highest learning curve just because with VAPI, the interface itself, it's more developer focused. So you could tell that this voice automation system was built with developers in mind. It makes the barrier to entry quite difficult when you're coming from a completely no code background, a lot less technical background. When it comes to the tool integrations, a lot of the tools you have to make from scratch, doing a lot of things yourself, whereas a lot of these other options have built-in tools that make it a lot easier. So when it comes to Calendar or Calendly or even your Google Calendar, which are some of the main use cases with voice agents, which is getting an appointment to be booked onto your calendar. With VAPI, you have to make a lot of these tools custom. So I have VAPI as best for people who are comfortable with JSON and custom integrations. With Retail AI, I have it as a moderate learning curve, but honestly, it's a lot closer to the lowest or easier learning curve. It's a much more beginner friendly. The interface is a lot simpler. It has direct integration with cal.com specifically. This helps reduce latency when it comes to fetching calendar availability and booking directly onto the calendar. So I originally started with VAPI and then I transferred over to Retail. Obviously, some of my information that I gained while using Retail or while using VAPI, I should say, helped me learn Retail a lot quicker. But overall, the amount of progress I could make in a lot short amount of time was insane when I first moved from VAPI to Retail. So I have Retail here as best for beginners who want to start building quickly, because you could watch a tutorial and get started on Retail in less than a few hours. I have 11 labs here for the lowest learning curve. 11 labs and Retail are honestly around the same. The dashboard is the simplest in my opinion out of all of them. It has very few modules to navigate. It has built-in integrations with Cursor, HubSpot, and Zendesk. A big thing with 11 Labs as well that's good is that most of these other platforms pull their voices from 11 Labs, Retail specifically. VAPI has their own voices, but even when I build in VAPI, I just pull my voices from 11 Labs and then transfer them over as well. But when you build in 11 Labs, the voices are automatically there, so the latency is a lot less. and it just makes the overall experience a lot smoother. I have 11 Labs is best for the complete beginners who've done basic research on prompting, just want to get their hands dirty and see exactly what they can do with voice AI. Now we'll just take a look at the overall pricing breakdowns of each of these platforms. First, we'll start off with Vappy. Vappy has an overall cost per minute of 12 cents per minute. Retail has an overall cost similar to Vappy at 11 cents per minute. And 11 Labs comes in at 19 cents per minute as the highest out of all three. This is just a breakdown of each pricing model. Well, let's take a look at Vappy and Retail first, as they have pretty similar pricing models, but 11 Labs is a little bit different and a little bit more complex. So starting off with Vappy, they have a platform fee of 5 cents per minute, and then separate costs for your LLM, which just means like using OpenAI, using Gemini, or using Claude. And then they have costs for the speech to text. So the voice, basically, same thing with the text to speech. And then the telephony, which is just for the number using Twilio. All those are going to be a couple cents each, or fractions of a cent. And then it will just all add up to get you to your final cost of around 10 to 12 cents. Retail AI works in essentially the same way. You have the starting price at 7 cents per minute, but on their end, the infrastructure is handled for you. But then you can also pick your LLM that you use. Like when you're using retail, you could use same thing, ChatGPT. You could use Gemini. You could use Claude, or you could even use your own custom LLM if you wanted to. But most average agents that I run go at about the same price, which is about what we see here, at about 12 cents per minute. Sometimes, very odd chances, they'll be at 13 cents. As we move on to 11 Labs, this one is a little bit more complex, because with 11 Labs itself isn't naturally an agent building platform. 11 Labs is a voice AI platform where we get the voices from themselves. So with 11 Labs, you would have a subscription, and with that subscription, you'd have access to this whole library of voices that you'd use to link to Retail or Vappy. About a year ago, they started making their own agents, or an agent building platform in their software. So with that, in order to get a bucket of agent minutes, you need to have the $22 plan. After you have the $22 plan, there will be a certain amount of minutes that you have to build with the agent building software. From there, you will get charged 12 cents per minute for overage. So every minute you go over, you're already allotted $22 a minute. You get charged 12 cents per minute. And then when you actually go to deploy these agents in real world use cases, it goes up to about 16 to 22 cents per minute when you're just including everything like the LLM and then the transcription and then just for the phone number and everything. So with all that, I know this is a little bit of a quicker video. It just comes down to my personal recommendation. I'm being completely honest and completely transparent. I wish I could give you a clear answer and tell you 100% this is exactly what you need to do. But as I stated earlier in the video, everyone has their different needs, their different use cases, and just their different desires when it comes to this. But for me personally, I use Retail for the majority of my clients because it just strikes me as the best balance between ease of use and capabilities. If you know a lot of JSON and you know coding, you'll have a lot of fun inside of Vappy. It will come very naturally to you. And then all the other two will be a lot simpler for you as well. If you're a complete beginner, stick with 11 Labs or stick with Retail. If you need a complete guide on how to build voice agent from scratch, I did release a video fairly recently about building your first voice agent from scratch in Retail. It'll be in the top right hand corner. So if you click that video, you'll be able to make a voice agent very, very quickly. My advice is to pick one of these platforms, or you could pick Retail, you could pick Vappy, pick 11 Labs. Sit down for 2 weeks and just learn. Practice building, search up the tutorials and build. Just build, and then you'll find yourself at a competent place so that you can start even branching off into these other services and other platforms. Because no matter where you start, all that matters is that you're putting in the hours to get to a level that you're good enough to bring value to a business, at least in my case, because what I'm doing is I'm building an agency that sells these voice agents that help bring business owners back their time and helps them bring in more revenue. So that was the biggest thing for me when I started. And if you're running an agency, then this should be the most important thing to you. What matters is that you're doing what's necessary to bring revenue, to bring in value for your clients, essentially. And if your business is looking to implement AI into your operations to scale your business, click the link in the description to book a free one-on-one consultation with me to see how a voice AI system can look inside your business operations. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good one.